You know that friend who always cancels plans? The one who says yes to everything and then an hour before sends the text. Something came up. I'm not feeling it. Rain check? You've probably decided she's flaky, unreliable, maybe even a little selfish. She's not. What you're watching isn't flakiness. It's a habit that got installed in her before she could talk. And by the end of this video, you're going to see it everywhere, in your friend, in your partner, and if you're honest with yourself, probably in you too. Because here's the thing psychology doesn't advertise enough. The way you show up in your relationships right now, today at 28 or 35 or 42, was mostly decided before you turned 7. Not by one big event, not by some dramatic movie style trauma, by something smaller. Something that repeated so many times it stopped looking like a wound and started looking like your personality. So today we're not doing clinical labels. No diagnoses, no jargon, no you have an attachment disorder. We're doing something more useful. We're going to trace 3 specific childhood habits straight into the exact adult behaviors they turn into. The friend canceling thing is one of them. There are 2 more, and one of them is going to hit closer to home than you're expecting. Let's start with her, the canceler. Picture a kid, maybe 5 or 6, in a house where the mood could flip fast. One minute things are calm, the next a door slams, or a voice rises, or a parent goes quiet in that specific way, that means something is wrong. That kid learns something very fast and very quietly. She learns to check the temperature of a room before she walks into it. Not because anyone told her to, because her nervous system figured out that safety wasn't guaranteed. It had to be scanned for. That's not a personality trait, that's a survival skill. And it worked. It kept her calm in an unpredictable house. But survival skills don't retire when you turn 18, they just change jobs. So now she's 31, she agrees to dinner with you on Tuesday. But by Tuesday afternoon, something in her body had already started doing the thing it was trained to do, scanning. Am I too tired to perform for fun tonight? Will I have the energy to manage someone else's mood on top of my own? Is this actually safe, or does it just look safe? She doesn't consciously think any of that. It happens underneath language, the same way it did when she was 6. All she feels is a wall of resistance right before the plan, and the fastest way to make that feeling stop is to cancel. You experience it as flaking, she experiences it as relief. That's habit number 1. Childhood hypervigilance, constantly scanning a room for danger, becomes adult avoidance, not because she doesn't want closeness, because closeness historically came with risk. Here's habit number 2, and this one's sneakier, because on the surface, it looks like the opposite problem. This is the kid who became the family's emotional thermostat. Maybe a parent struggled, depression, addiction, a rough divorce, doesn't matter what exactly. And somewhere along the way, this kid figured out that if they were good enough, cheerful enough, low maintenance enough, the house stayed calmer. So they got quiet about their own needs. They became the one who didn't cause problems, the easy one. That's not spoiled, that's not old soul, even though people love calling it that. That's a child doing unpaid emotional labor to keep the peace in a house that wasn't peaceful on its own. Now fast forward. That kid is your coworker who says, I'm fine, don't worry about me, while clearly not fine. That's the partner who absorbs your bad mood, apologizes for things that weren't their fault, and somehow always ends every argument by comforting you. They're not saints. They're running code from age 7. Their body still believes that their needs are a liability, and other people's comfort is the actual job. And this is where it gets expensive. Because a person who is trained to manage everyone else's feelings usually ends up in relationships with people who are more than happy to let them. Not because those partners are villains, just because the dynamic fits like a lock and key. One person overgives, one person undergives, and it feels oddly stable because it's familiar. Familiarity isn't the same as healthy, it just feels like home because it is home. It's literally the house you grew up in, wearing a different address. Habit number 3 is the one people miss the most because it doesn't look like a wound at all. It looks like ambition. This is the achievement kid, the one who got noticed, really noticed, warmly noticed when they brought home the report card, won the trophy, made the honor roll, and got a little quieter, a little more invisible on the ordinary days when they were just existing. So that kid learns a rule without anyone stating it out loud. I am loved for what I produce. Rest is dangerous. Stillness gets me nothing. That becomes the adult who cannot sit on a couch without guilt, the one who takes on more at work than anyone asked for, the one whose partner says you don't have to prove anything to me, and it doesn't land because the belief isn't about that partner. It's about a much younger version of them that learned love had a price of admission. In relationships, this shows up as someone who's incredible in a crisis and strangely uncomfortable with plain, boring, low stakes affection. Being handed effortless love feels almost suspicious, like there has to be a catch. 3 habits, 3 totally different childhoods, and 3 totally different adults walking around today. The scanner who avoids closeness, the caretaker who overgives, the achiever who can't accept love without earning it. Here's the part that actually matters though, the part most videos on this skip, because it's less satisfying than the aha moment. Recognizing the pattern is not the same as fixing it. A lot of people watch a video like this, feel the little jolt of, oh my god, that's literally me, and then do nothing because the recognition itself feels like progress. It isn't. It's step one of about four. So let's talk about what actually moves the needle because you deserve more than a label. The first move is naming the moment, not the pattern. You don't need to sit around thinking, I have avoidant tendencies. That's too abstract to act on. What you need is to catch the specific instant it happens. The second you feel that wall go up before a plan, or that urge to apologize for a feeling you haven't even said out loud yet, or that itch to add one more task to an already full day, that's the moment. Naming it in real time, even just internally saying, there it is, that's the old habit, starts to create the tiniest gap between the feeling and the reaction. That gap is the entire game. Everything changes inside that gap. The second move is under functioning on purpose. I know that sounds backwards, especially if you're the caretaker type, but if you always manage everyone's comfort, practice deliberately letting a silence sit without filling it. Let someone else pick the restaurant. Let a friend's bad mood exist without trying to fix it in real time. Your nervous system will scream that something is wrong. Nothing is wrong. You're just not on duty for once. The third move, and this is the one people resist the most, tell someone the truth before you cancel instead of after. Not something came up. Try, I'm noticing I want to cancel and I don't think it's really about tonight. That single sentence rewires something huge. It turns an old avoidance habit into a moment of actual intimacy, which is the opposite of what your body expects to happen. Do that enough times, and the wall gets a little shorter every time. None of this is about blaming your parents, by the way. Most of the adults who raised us were just repeating their own version of this, taught to them the exact same way, by people who were doing their best with what they had. This isn't about assigning villains. It's about noticing the pattern clearly enough that you get to choose whether to keep carrying it forward or to be the first one in the chain who puts it down. So if you made it this far, here's what I want you to actually do. Think of one relationship in your life right now, romantic, friendship, doesn't matter, where you keep repeating a reaction that doesn't quite make sense to you. Not what you think the reason is, what you actually feel right before you do it. That feeling is data, it's not random, and it's not a character flaw. It's a very old, very loyal habit trying to keep you safe in a world that doesn't require that kind of protection anymore. You didn't choose the habit, but you get to choose what happens next. And if this is the first time you've heard your patterns explained without a diagnosis attached to them, stick around because the next video breaks down the specific reason some people fall for the same type of partner over and over, even when they swear they're done with that type for good. It's the same wiring, just a different room in the house.